Imagine that you go to the forest and you see an actual nymph. Do you think you would be attracted to her? I think it would be strange, wouldn't it? And now I will see myself out. See you in Tartarus! Hello my beautiful basilisks and mythology in mind. You can call me M&M, and today we're going to be talking about whatever is written in the title of this video. Something about sex, if I know myself. So let's get into it, pun intended. Oh, and disclaimer, none of these terms are used nowadays. The DSM-5 has them both together, not split by gender, and now it's called hypersexuality, but a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists don't think it's an actual medical or psychological condition. Now that that's out of the way, let's hit that. Another intended one. The word Satyriasis comes to use in the 2nd century BC, and it was used like hypersexuality, as it was a diagnosis for both men and women. It stops being used a few centuries later with the end of the Occidental Roman Empire. In 1629, it resurfaces, and it was used only to refer to men that had excessive or abnormal sexual craving. It wasn't a common diagnosis, but it brings some peace in me knowing that for these people, there was a point where it was way too much. Popularly, men with this diagnosis or with a lot of sexual desire will call satyrs and Don Juanes. I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's in Spanish, so it's Don Juanes. But why were they called that? I hear none of you asking, as satyrs are one of the most well-known Greek mythological creatures. Don't worry, I will explain it to you. A satire is the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, of ridicule of... What? Oh, the other satyr. Oh, the one with Y. Okay. You think you know your satires, don't you, my little basilisk? Well, you probably have no idea. Are you thinking about someone who is half man, half goat? Because if you are fucking wrong. That's a fun, my guy, and it's a Roman misinterpretation of a satire. They got it confused with Pan because they were pretty similar in behavior. You know, only good for drinking and having sex. Also, they followed the god, so I see the confusion. So, a satyr is half man, half horse. Not as a centaur though, those have like the full horse body. These creatures, on the other hand, had just 2 legs, which looks like horse ones. They also had a horse tail, horse ears, beards, ugly faces, and non-stopping erections. They probably had a hard time in school. The classical diagnosis of Satyriasis said that these men were not happy with themselves. They masturbate compulsively, and they feel like they need more and more to be satisfied. And they can't control their actions, so obviously they can't rape someone from time to time. This was treated by making the patient sleep more. Okay. The other method was castration, but it was really uncommon, and definitely, if I know my history, only using people who were not affluent. We move now to the term nymphomania. Surprisingly, this word is created in the 18th century by French psychiatrists, and is a word play between nymph as a creature, nymph as a woman who just got married, and the Greek word for labia minora. Good job with the triple meaning. I think you deserve an applause. Maybe you found weird that the term nymphomania is not developed until so late, especially when psychiatrists took the term satyriasis and diagnosed a few men with it a century before. It actually has a simple explanation. You see, in Western countries, we had perceived traditionally that men are active sexual beings and women are their counterpart, passive ones. What the fuck does that mean? Easy. That men look for sex and coitus, and while women don't go actively looking for it, they like it, so they enjoy sex. Rape is also included, by the way. But in the 18th century, Puritanism values are weighing heavily on society, and sex is much frowned upon. Not as much for men, but a lot for women. This weird concept that women experiment very few sexual desire is imposed as the rule for them, and they are only supposed to feel it after marriage, for their husband. Before we get deeper in this, let's talk first about nymphs in Greek mythology. They were nature spirits, divided in a ton of categories. I'll make a video about that if you want. They look physically like beautiful, usually naked women that love to sing and dance. And they were very sexual. Funny enough, they are sometimes represented being chased by satyrs or freely having sex with them in Dionysus parties. This is just a theory, but I think one of the reasons why they picked this creature in specific for the condition in addition to the incredible puns, is the myth of Orpheus and the nymphs. Long story short, some of them wanted to fuck the poet, he turned them down, and they became crazy. Because how they're men. The audacity. In Greek myths, nymphs had sex with both men and women, so it wasn't uncommon for lesbians to be diagnosed as nymphomaniacs, independently of their sex drive. Well, honestly, the reasons to be diagnosed as such were pretty random. So, being attracted to women is one of them. The others were having committed adultery, that the woman liked flirting, being or wanting to be divorced, having more sex drive than your husband, having sexual fantasies, having a big clitoris, or being frigid. What the fuck? The treatment. We have a few. Cool baths, not consuming alcohol, no more reading, no more meat, imprisonment in a mental asylum or in a room at the patient's house, cutting their veins, cutting their vagina, putting coke on their vagina, removing the ovaries as menstruation can obviously cause nymphomania, and ablation. Fucking lovely. Also, I find rather curious the etymology of both words, more specifically the ending Satyriasis, so Sapphic asis, as in an illness or a biological-based problem. Nymphomania, so mania, as in a psychological disorder of compulsion. Of course. And as you may suspect, even though in the history of psychology women have been diagnosed with nymphomania way more than men with satyriasis, psychologists estimate that around 80% of the people with hypersexuality are men. I don't know if this is because biology or culture, both probably. And I think that covers it. I'm sorry I post so little, but my uni gave me a horrible schedule, plus homework and work. I have very little time for this. Anyway, I have a special announcement. In Halloween, I will make a collab with Messiah Mythology and some other great mythology channels, so go check out his channel and remember to look at our video on the 31. And also for my birthday, I have been gifted Hades, the video game. Would you be interested in me talking about it? Like saying if the mythology is correct, or watch me play, or both, or neither? Just say. Have a nice Iron Age. Bye.